That's busy. We get like 100 views. Yes, just cheats. It's not allowed.
Right, so we'll move the screen down. We'll obviously edit this slightly. We are live now, so I will try and find myself a chair and we'll go with it. Okay? So, okay. Good morning. Welcome to episode 1 of the 12th Man podcast for the year 2021-22. I'm joined by a host of familiar faces. What you will notice differently is, first of all, a point that's been picked up is that this does actually go out on YouTube so people can watch it after, so you can see yourself back and rate your performance and others. Secondly is that we are all together for the first time, so we've been doing this now for the last 6 months. However, it's the first and only time so far that we've got to go together in a room. The restrictions have lifted. We are mixing year 8 with year 10 and with me, and as we expand into the new year 7s and our year 11 interest picks up again, we should get some huge numbers here, which is great. Okay. The other noticeable difference is that there is only 2 members in their shirts, so we didn't make it compulsory, but you will see a plethora of football shirts and colours. I hope for the New Year 7s we'll bring some different football teams with them. We still have our resident local Blackburn fan. We have a Burnley fan in our ranks. We still have Mr. Holland-Shaw as West Ham, and then we have a mixture of City, United and Liverpool fans within the rest of the group as well. Okay. We will start today's topics, or the 3 topics we say we're looking at. First one is Mr. Ronaldo and his return to England, and in particular his return to Manchester United. Secondly, we will look at the Premier League start for the teams that are involved in the Premier League. We'll briefly touch upon England and the national team, and we will finish on some weekend predictions. Okay. Welcome. Good morning.
Hello.
Nice quiet start. Right. First of all, I will lead for the first 1 minute. Mr. Ronaldo coming back to United. Do I think it's a good move for the Premier League? Yes. Personally, do I like it? No. Does he make Man United better? Yes. Did he probably have an interest in City and City have an interest in him? Probably. Did it ever materialise, and was it possibly money driven, and the fact that he was a legend at United? I would say yes on both accounts. But he's made a pretty good start, hasn't he? 3 goals in 2 appearances, even though United were beaten last Champions League. Harrison, what's your first point?
If we're using stats, 2 games, Antonio scored 4, Ronaldo scored 3, Antonio better than Ronaldo. Okay,
so that's a comparable fact there, although Antonio has got himself a little red card in between and will miss some action. You don't have to put your hand up in this forum, we can just talk open and go for it, Jax.
Ronaldo is bad because the goals that he scored were either easy tap-ins, and they were all the keeper's fault. So the one against Newcastle, he got an easy tap-in where the keeper should have caught it, and then the second one, it went through the keeper's legs, and then the one last night, the keeper fumbled it and it went in the net.
So Briggsy's going to fight on this one. What are you saying, Briggsy? Okay, well you've got to. Again, we're always looking to justify. I would say, on Jax's point, and I'll come back to you, Max, say on Jax's point that easy goals are only easy goals when they're scored, so people will miss easy chances. So there's one thing saying an easy chance and an easy goal, and there is a difference. You've got to be in the right place at the right time, and I think Ronaldo's made a career out of that, hasn't he? If you remember people like, it might be difficult for you to remember, but Ruud van Nistelrooy at Man United many years ago wasn't a great goal scorer. He only actually ever scored 1 goal from outside the box in his entire United career. However, he scored many goals and tap-ins when he was in the right place at the right time. Is he better than Messi?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
You're only saying that. You're only saying that. The only people that think Ronaldo is better than Messi, Real Madrid fans and Man United fans, and that's facts. I'll tell you there.
Well, technically.
Who goes down the Premier League argument? Because that's usually what I go with, to be honest. He's done it in different leagues. So.
It depends what we're looking at. If we're looking at skills, Messi's probably Ronaldo has a skill like named after it, but Messi can take it past 5 players with ease and score. But then if you're talking about free kicks, Ronaldo's free kicks are just incredible. Like,
I agree with both of those points. It doesn't necessarily mean that one is better or the other for those particular reasons. But I think where most people would say is that Messi's had limited international success with Argentina. I know they won the Copa America or the Copa Libertadores, whatever it is, over the summer. And I know that obviously Ronaldo won the Euros a few years ago. So there's that for him to put in there with his CV. The reason I think Ronaldo is just because I think the Premier League is the hardest league in the world. So he's not just done it; he's come back to do it again. I think that Italy is a very, not an easy league, but I don't think it's the highest achieving league. I thought he did okay there, but he did it in Spain as well, whereas it will be interesting to see how Messi does, and I think maybe this is an argument for in a year's time, let's judge Messi now he's out of Barcelona. Because he's not, even though Paris are a top team, he's not quite got the same players he had at his absolute peak at Barcelona. And we'll see if he can do it in the French League and in the Champions League with a team that have been less successful than Barcelona. So I think that's one for debate in the future.
Current one, I think Ronaldo's better, but
Agreed.
when they were in the primes, I think Messi was better than Ronaldo.
Quite possibly. Now, I think I'm right. I think Ronaldo's older than Messi, isn't he? I think Ronaldo is 37 and Messi's 34. So yeah, there's a little bit of age difference there. Obviously, you'd think he's signed for 2 years. Ronaldo at United. I can't see him going beyond 2 years. To be honest, I think the majority of his game by that time. He's always been good in the air. He's always had pace. I think by that time he will probably have lost a lot of those attributes. And unless he's just going to be brought on as a free kick specialist.
Yeah, but you can see like Zlatan. Everyone thought he wasn't going to play till he's like 40, but he's still doing well in Serie A.
He does. The one thing I will say about Zlatan though, he's been more of a target man, and he does crazy things, but he's never probably relied on his pace heavily in that respect. He's never, he's a tall guy, not taller than Ronaldo, so probably doesn't have to rely on his jumping ability as much. Whereas it'd be interesting to see.
A fitness freak, isn't he?
He is. He's probably the fittest guy in terms of football I've ever seen. The guy is absolutely shredded. So that could have a factor in.
I mean, let me use Ronaldo as logic. So Ben Mee is better than Ramos because he plays in the best league in the world.
Yeah.
You can use that logic against you. Ben Mee is better than Ramos.
What you have to then judge is, has Ben Mee played internationally?
Not like, but
versus Ramos and his international attributes. Has he played in the Champions League? The answer would be no.
Matip then. Matip.
Yeah, well, listen, Matip is a good player. Matip has got a Champions League win on his CV. He's got a Premier League win on his CV. He hasn't got much international success as far as I'm aware, but he is a good player. Is he as good as
Ramos? No, he isn't.
No, he isn't.
Logic against you.
No, I'm not, because you can compare it, but then you actually go down to full-on ability, don't you?
Peacock Farrell's better than Neuer. Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He's played international. Exactly.
I think the podcast has been drinking this morning. We'll move on. So the Premier League starts. The top four as it stands. As City got knocked out of the top four the other day because Everton got a comeback win against Burnley, which we'll mention in a moment. I think the top four competing this year is going to be very, very difficult. I think Liverpool have started well. City minus the first game at Tottenham, which I'm not going to sound like I'm making excuses, but I will do to a certain extent. We're missing the majority of our internationals who played in the Euros in the last stages. However, we were poor on the day and deserved to get beat. But we have reacted well with 9 goals, 3 wins in a row and no goals conceded. So City have got a bit of form there. Chelsea just looks solid, and Lukaku, they bought a proven goal scorer, aren't they? They are a problem for me because they beat us 3 times in the last season as well in 6 weeks. So they are a problem for me. And United, last night was maybe a blip, maybe it was poor tactics, but United will be a better team for signing Sancho, Ronaldo, and Varane. They're going to be better.
Sancho is a flop.
You can't say
Too early
that.
to say it. It's very early.
Like, what did Southampton do on his debut?
Southampton?
Nothing. Yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Premier League is so much like more technical than other leagues. You've got to adapt to it.
Also, he's got expectation at United, hasn't he? So he had no expectation when he was at City. He then left City to go to Dortmund, which is a big chance for him. But he was kind of in the background, wasn't he? Because I know Dortmund get huge crowds, but the pressure's off a little bit because he's not in his home nation. He flourishes there. He comes into the England team and plays quite well. But he's under massive pressure now at United. They've paid a lot of money for him. So it will take a bit of time for him to sell. I agree completely that it's too early for him to say he's a flop. 18 months ago, we thought it was the greatest thing in the world, didn't we, as an England fan? So it will be interesting to see how he does and the systems he plays. It'll be interesting to see what happens with United with the Rashfords and the Martials and the. See, Martial scored his first goal for France in something like 5 years the other day in one of their qualifiers. I find it shocking. 5 years as a striker without a goal is shocking, isn't it? But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But who wants to say anything? Ruben, you want to talk about your team? We'll talk about West Ham in a second because they're up and coming just behind that, aren't they? So, Ruben, Liverpool all right this year?
Yeah, I think we should have scored against Chelsea after their last amount.
Yeah. I thought they defended so well, though. So well. It was like an art of defending that day. I thought they were brilliant.
Van Dijk pocketed Lukaku.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I think Matip more on that day. Matip more that day, I think, probably did a better job than even Van Dijk did. I thought he had a good start to the season, but I thought that was an interesting game. I thought that was always going to end up in a draw, that, to be honest. And I think, yeah, it was a shame. It was a sending off. The first one wasn't handball, but the second one was, wasn't it? When he's then come off his knee and on. So, yeah, it was a right decision. It was a good game. It was the art of defending versus the art of attacking. I think Liverpool looked strong.
And against Leeds, that's a bad tackle against Albion.
It's a bad tackle. It's a bad tackle. I don't know if you saw. I was going to say, did you see Tarkowski's the other night?
That was a fair challenge.
Listen, in my book, in old school defending the way I want,
that's a well good
that's
challenge.
a great challenge. However, I was ridiculously surprised to see that went not even a free kick,
He deserved
completely unpunished. So,
Charlton were giving it biggie.
listen, I can understand why some people like to see it. I just don't. What we're all searching for is consistency, isn't it? We just want it consistent. If it's a foul for one and not the other, it's not fair. So let's use the technology we have and let's make it consistent.
I think that we have the best signing of the summer.
Who's that guy from Leon?
Yeah, the guy
Who scored 4 in 3 against City?
Yeah.
What's he called?
Cornet.
Yeah. Is he good? Look all right so far, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's only like 12 million, wasn't he?
20 million.
I thought he was 12. Okay. Decent.
Where is he even playing?
He's a winger, isn't he?
Winger.
Yeah.
He won't play for the first 6 months. So.
Yeah.
Sean will have to get him in.
Dash will bring Lennon on.
I was going to say, how old's Lennon now? 48. He's been around for a long time.
39.
You don't bring Lennon on when you just conceded 3 goals in 7 minutes.
Interesting, because Mr. Bradshaw put a tweet out that night and said exactly the same. He was like, you bring this lad in, he's supposed to come with some credentials and looks a decent player, and then you put Aaron Lennon on, he's like still making sense. So.
Gio Rodriguez was shooting from 50 yards out.
Yeah, I still think Burnley, going back to that situation with Burnley, we said last year that the management structure had a decision to make. They came in saying they were going to do things differently, they were going to change things, barring one signing, really. And I know you let a couple of guys go as well.
Maybe got Connor Roberts.
But do I
He
see?
plays for Welsh team, you know.
Yeah, okay. So the Welsh team that are struggling to qualify from their qualifying group at the moment, who
Welsh
drew
team that
0-0
knocked
against
around
Estonia the
60.
other day. Like, they're not the benchmark of international football. I'm not saying he's a poor signing.
Yeah,
what
but
I'm saying
Connor
is-
Roberts didn't play, so if he
Oh,
played, then
my mistake. What I would say is I still personally see Burnley as not a good enough squad in my opinion. I think on the day they'll give anyone a game. We know that they'll upset a few this season, but I still think if you get 1 injury, 2 injuries, your squad is threadbare.
it's not.
Threadbare, I think.
It'll be right. We don't get injured.
Well, listen, let's hope for Dicey's boys that that's the case. But obviously, the last couple of seasons have been a little bit below expectations where it was previously. So let's hope for a better season. West Ham.
Alright, so with all these chats going up, I've got my thoughts. About Sancho, he's not a goal scorer, he's a winger.
Mm-hmm.
And as a winger myself, I'm not meant to score. And not you know this. You know I cannot score for the life of me. I just pass and I run and I skill.
So you're the assist or the pre-assist guy.
Yeah. And I reckon that's what Sancho is.
Fair enough.
He's a scorer.
Which I think no one can complain against. If he ends the season with 3 goals and 20 assists, he's done his job, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see where he's at in a minute because I think, let's say 4 games is too early to judge. Go on, keep on.
Alright. And then I heard Jack say about Rodriguez shooting from like 50 yards out. It wasn't Rodriguez, but that second goal for Everton was absolutely just incredible.
Townsend's, yeah.
Yeah, he just struck it. He just went in.
And he was a free transfer from Crystal Palace this year as well.
He always scores bangers,
Yeah, he's not a bad player. He's been a good player. He's been around for a long time. And
Brad
I think
McNeil's goal was better.
Oh my gosh, Jack.
Oh, he's burning like air.
It was. No, it was. When they played
don't used to play for United.
when they played Everton last time, Dwight McNeil took on a man with a quarter, and then he curled it top bins from further out. It was a better goal.
Okay. Can I ask an interesting question to the Liverpool fans in the room, just quickly? What are your thoughts on Rafa at Everton? It's doing all right, isn't it?
That's sick, actually. 4th place, is it?
Yeah, but you don't want them near you, do you?
No.
Does it ruin his legacy as a Liverpool legend by going to Everton? Do you hate him now a bit, or are you all
That's
right
like
with
Sean Dyche going to Blackburn.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Very
It is.
much.
Yeah, it's like Pep going to United, or, who's West Ham's rivals?
Millwall.
It's like, is it Gary Rowett still the man? It's like Gary Rowett going to West Ham or David Moyes going to Millwall. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Well, listen, positive starts for everyone. Burnley with a little bit of work to do. West Ham looking good. The top 4 we've said. Blackburn, 7th. Did I see it last night in the league?
Yeah.
7th.
That's decent.
With the same manager in place that we moaned about for a lot of the end of last season. So credit where credit's due. He's turned it around a little bit.
Doing some better. I think he's the pressure's now on him to do well this season so that they'll renew his contract. It
Ends at the end of the season.
Yeah. Great
So,
win last night.
yeah, we had a chat the other day, didn't we, just in passing, saying, do you think we could sneak into the playoffs? And it's a possibility. I think the form at the minute suggests they can. Some good wins in there. And Blackburn have got Barnsley this weekend, which we'll talk about again later. Right, just briefly, go on.
As soon as that Breton Diaz guy gets injured, then they're screwed.
Quite possibly, yeah, you're quite possibly right. I'm conscious of time, I just realised it's 10 past, okay? I'm going to skip across England, if that's okay, very quickly, and we will just go to some weekend predictions. So, I'll start with United and West Ham fans, of which there are a few in the room. United are away at West Ham this weekend. Very, very difficult game. Predictions?
More than 2-0.
To United?
Yeah.
Less alcohol for you, Briggsy. Harrison?
Alright, so obviously I am a West Ham fan, so I'm going to be a tiny bit
Yes,
biased.
you're allowed to be.
But with the red card on Antonio, I think we don't have a chance. I reckon it would be 3-2 United.
3-2 United away. 4-0 United, that is, again, you less easy on the alcohol.
3-2 as well, United.
3-2. Ronaldo hat-trick.
Ronaldo and probably, I don't know, Sancho.
I'm going for 1-1. I'm going for a score draw. Okay? Score draw in that one.
1-0, 1-0 West Ham.
1-0
Nil,
West Ham.
nil.
What's it?
It's going to be 2-1.
Oh.
2-1 is on my side.
Score bangers.
I don't know why, but I don't know why we aren't playing Zuma. Areola, because we have Fabianski in there right now, who's about 36, and
He's a good keeper.
yeah, he's decent, but we haven't even seen Areola yet.
Maybe it's not the game to bring him in against United. Maybe it's the
I think
cup
we're
game
bringing-
against United the weekend.
We're bringing him in the Europa League, so I can't wait to see that because we're bringing a lot of new times.
You heard that right, guys. Europa League football for West Ham United.
Don't like
Miracles
Europa.
do happen. Right, Burnley have got, who did we say?
Arsenal.
Arsenal at home.
Oh, Burnley's gonna get
Pressure.
Easy.
Pressure.
Battle of the relegation. If Cornet plays, 2-0 Burnley.
2-0 Burnley, 2-0 Burnley.
If Cornet plays, if Cornet doesn't play, 1-0 Burnley.
1-1. Two teams that are terrified to lose. Two out of form teams as well. 1-1 score draw. You going for it?
I'm going to say 2-1 to Burnley.
Oh my God, the Blackburn fan going for it. Burnley is it?
0-0.
0-0.
1-0 Arsenal.
1-0 Arsenal.
It's going to be 3-1 Burnley.
Wow.
I don't think Cornet will play until the cup game on Wednesday, I think.
First introduction there. Give him 90
Play
minutes.
against
Yeah.
Rochdale.
But,
Yeah.
good team, Rochdale. Right, moving on. City here at Southampton. Unfortunately, it's my
I don't
mum's
care.
60th birthday this weekend, so I'm not around and missing that fixture, which is disappointing. Excuse me, I'm going to go for 4-0 Man City. Yeah, no goals conceded again in this game. Southampton, not great travellers, not the greatest start. 2-2. Again, you need to lay off on whatever it is that you're doing in the morning. Okay?
2-2 on
Southampton wins. Yeah. Pick on the City
So
fan.
because we lost, we drew with Southampton. Either we're a bad side or it's they had a good game. But I reckon it's gonna be 3-1 thingy. Yeah.
City. 3-1 City or Southampton. Okay, so I've got one friend in the room. Liverpool, quickly. Crystal Palace, is it? Did we say?
Yeah.
3-0.
Crystal
That's gonna be
Palace.
an easy win.
Anfield.
That's gonna be easy.
3-0, 4-0, 5-0.
They beat
Something-
Tottenham. They beat
They
Tottenham.
did, but-
and
Oh,
the
yeah,
others.
all because of that red card.
I'm not getting too carried away.
Zaha, that's
So we're still beatable.
I reckon they should have kicked the ball out. They should have kicked it out.
So we're still unbeatable.
That's why he did it though. He wouldn't push him on
So
purpose.
what?
We're still unbeatable.
I know, don't rub it in. We've lost the game. Right, finally.
1-1 and drew.
Excuse me, Blackburn, Barnsley.
Easy win for Blackburn.
I was going to say Blackburn. 1-0.
I reckon it's going to be
Easy win.
possibly 3-0 with Breton Diaz if he's playing, scoring, Dolan, and I forgot who we subbed on later.
Don't matter. In, number 10. Number 10 coming on.
That's him. That's Dolan.
Oh, is it? Number
Yeah,
20.
number 7.
Substitute. Whoever it is. Right, so some predictions there. So we will be more organised next week, as in we will have the setup early doors. I'll get here, I'll come off my duty early. We're all back in football shirts and we may have a few additions. Say something.
Albania's going to win the World Cup.
And on that crazy note, we'll see you all later. Have a good week.
Albania, man. Sick.
Right, guys.